Welcome to the Obviously Rare podcast. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Michael T. Porter here. I'm your host. I got another bomb podcast episode for y'all. Before I begin, y'all hit that like button, the subscribe button, that share button, hit that notification bell so you know when I am dropping. If you would like to support the mission, support the movement, support the culture, support the channel, Cash App $ Michael US. Got a story today about a man named Joshua Hammer. Joshua Hammer. And out there in Alabama, he was an inmate and he was beaten to death. And the family members trying to figure out what happened in this prison to where nobody knows nothing about the abuse he was taking while in the Alabama correctional facility. Bibb Correctional Facility to be exact. Let's go over here. This is according to alabamaappleseed.org. All right, Joshua Hammer, incarcerated on a probation violation for nonviolent crimes, is beaten to death in prison. Article written by Eddie Burkhalter. It's a fancy name. And that is a fancy name. I went to a public school, went to many public schools. They don't teach us nothing. And to come out to this world and able to pronunciate these big words and able to not butcher up people's. Now I still butcher them up, but not as bad as I thought I would. I'm actually proud of myself. After he was beaten on November 6th, Joshua Hammer was placed back into his bunk at Bibb Correctional Facility unconscious and wasn't found until the next day. That's a key note. He was beaten unconscious and nobody found him to the next day. Now, we all know prisons do a count at least 3 times a day so they can get their money. That's how they get their money. Got to make sure them beds are full. So whoever's doing the count, they didn't realize that somebody was missing. Somebody was unaccounted for. I believe they counted him and they saw him beat up. They just when they did the count, they saw Joshua Hammer beat up and they just walked past him. They checked it off. Okay, he's here, and kept it pushing. Evil. He never regained consciousness and died 16 days later. Mr. Hammer, who was 41, was in prison on a probation violation stemming from an 8-year-old theft conviction for not returning red box rental movies and video games in 2016, according to court records. Injuries to his brain were so severe that doctors at a local hospital told the family they were unable to perform surgery on his other injuries due to the severity of his brain damage. So not only was he was beaten all in the face and stuff, he suffered other injuries. They said there was no point of helping with the other injuries, you crack ribs and all the other stuff, God knows what, because his brain is gone. Judy Hammer, his aunt, whom he lived with for the 3 years prior to entering prison, told Appleseed the family made the difficult decision to remove him from life support after he'd been in the hospital for 17 days. He died hours later on November 23rd. His face was just literally kicked in. I just lost it. I was trying to be brave and I just lost it, Miss Hammer said. Of the moment he was removed from life support, an investigator with the state called Miss Hammer and said they had identified 3 suspects in his death and may have a 4th. Miss Hammer said the family has heard an officer may have also been involved in allowing the other men to leave their dorm and enter Mr. Hammer's, but it's not yet clear. The Alabama Department of Corrections declined to answer Appleseed's question as to whether anyone has been charged in Mr. Hammer's death. So they're saying that they're trying to figure out, were the cops the one that beat him, or did the cops allow other inmates to beat him to death? That's evil. The man ain't got nothing, and you allow other savages to go in his cell and do him dirty. Inmate Joshua Joseph Hammer was admitted to UAB Hospital on November 6th 2024 for life-threatening injuries sustained in an inmate assault. He was pronounced deceased by an attending physician. A good person who fell into addiction. A day prior to the beating, Mr. Hammer called his aunt and asked her to send $50 so he could pay a man he owed money to. Oh, okay. Now it's starting to make sense. He probably owed the debt. She didn't know what he owed money for, but she suspects whoever he owed the money may have beaten him regardless. What bothers me is that what are they going to do about it? She wants to see justice done in her nephew's death and hopes the investigator was telling the truth when she told her she'd prosecute the death to the fullest. Miss Hammer described her nephew as a good person who fell into drug addiction. He lost both parents by the time he moved in with Miss Hammer, which is his aunt. So Joshua Hammer lost both his parents, and all he has is his aunt. And he lost both his parents 3 years before he was sent to prison on a probation revocation. He was a great electrician who could hook up anything and make it work. He apprenticed with an electrician for a time and enjoyed working in construction. Mr. Hammer had a 20-year-old son and 2 younger children. I have cried and cried and cried. Right now I'm mad, and when I get mad, I want to do something, Miss Hammer said. The problem is she's unsure of what to do. She hopes an investigator follows through with her promise to fully prosecute his killer or killers. I don't want him just walking around in there thinking, I got away with this because what else can they do to me, Miss Hammer said. Miss Hammer's fear that those who killed her nephew may not be held to account. Hold on, how are they writing this? Hold on. Mrs. Hammer's fear. I think that he messed it up. Miss Hammer's fears that those who killed her nephew may not be held accountable. I think that's what they meant to say. To date, no one has been charged in the brutal kidnapping and assault death of Daniel Terry Williams, 22, who died the day he was set to be released, raising concerns that those who commit deadly assaults in Alabama prisons may believe they can do without impunity. So somebody else got killed. There's a lot going on up in them Alabama prisons. So he was about to be released. This is a different guy, Daniel Terry Williams. He was about to be released. On the day he was about to be released, they assaulted him to death. So imagine being stabbed to death or being beaten to death. Getting shot is pretty quick. Usually it's pretty quick. Depends on how they shoot you. But to be beaten to death, unconscious, and they just stomping you, and just imagine they knock you unconscious, and then let's just say you do come back to conscious, how painful your jaw, brutal. Mr. Hammer's criminal record shows a history of drug and property offenses. He pled guilty to escape from a work release center in Decatur in 2009. The original charge that resulted in his 115-month sentence, of which he was to serve 19 months, was first-degree theft of property for not returning rental movies and games, according to court records. Those offenses occurred in April 2016, and he was arrested on the theft charge in December 2018. The indictment against Mr. Hammer, this is why he went to prison, y'all. The indictment against Mr. Hammer states he failed to return numerous Redbox movies and game discs with a value of $7,124. Redbox filed for bankruptcy in June 2024, which was 14 months after Mr. Hammer's probation was revoked, and a judge a month later ordered the company to liquidate its assets and shutter the business. In September 2021, Mr. Hammer was arrested on drug possession charges, and coupled with not paying fees and not reporting to his probation officer as required under the Redbox theft conviction, a judge agreed to revoke his probation. He was ordered to serve the remainder of his 115-month sentence in prison, court records show. So up until this point, all he had to do was leave the drugs alone. communicate with his probation officer. All you gotta do is report. All he had to do was report. He was on drugs bad. He was on drugs absolutely bad. If you guys want to check out this article, alabamaappleseed.org. Would y'all like my opinion? Would y'all like some of this obviously rare podcast commentary? Well, of course you do. That's why your ass is here. Obviously rare nation. I pray. I don't have any kids. Those of you that have kids that's struggling with drugs, I pray that they get through it, because it does lead to nothing but misery. I've never seen somebody on drugs and their life is just hunky-dory. Even if they're able to function with the drugs and make money, they're a doctor, lawyer, entrepreneur, any respectable profession, high earning profession, it doesn't matter. Them drugs, they say, I was looking at this YouTube video, and they said that drugs, pornography, alcohol opens up portals to the demonic realm, right? And I believe that, because it's like, what is in this? But I believe in the spiritual, and I also believe in the medical and scientific. What's in this stuff that make you ruin your life? You're so addicted to this stuff. Talking about the scientific side, the medical side of it. What chemical components are these scientists and doctors putting in this stuff, or street pharmacists, whoever, the elites is putting in this stuff, is so addictive that it'll have you going to jail. That'll have you homeless. That'll have you losing your job. That'll have you failing drug tests. That'll have you failing to report to your probation officer. They really didn't want him in the prison because, one, the facility is overcrowded. The facility was at 165% capacity. I'm sorry, 198. So which means they had double the amount of people that the prison can hold. They had too many people in this prison. It's too many people, and it's too violent. The conditions are horrible. And another thing, that's a little side note, the wardens are black. Did y'all know that the wardens are black? Black, I'll get to that in a minute. But let's get back to these drugs. I hope and pray that whoever's on drugs get off that stuff immediately. Seriously, go get some help, because people rob people while they're on these drugs. That's what I meant by, I believe that these drugs, on the medical side, your body just craves it, and it craves. Ultimately, you're craving opening up demonic portals, because what I'm saying is, a lot of people on drugs, they'll do anything for a fix. What's in this stuff to make you like you want it so bad that you'll take somebody else's life? Person didn't do nothing to you. Little old lady, you knock her head off because you trying to get it fixed. You killed this old lady for $50, $100, went inside her purse to score some drugs. What's in this stuff to where you want to R-word a young girl? What's in this stuff to make you want to commit suicide? What's in this stuff that impairs your judgment and have you out there homeless? I mean, drugs bring out the worst of the worst in people. They weren't meant to bring out the best. They bring out the worst of the worst. Spiritually, mentally, emotionally, it brings out the worst. I want you guys to really think about that. The chemicals and the chemical side of this thing and the medical side, they work hand in hand, because the medical side is your body craving this substance. And like I said, because you crave it so much, you ultimately have a habit of opening demonic portals. Killing somebody just to get some drug money. R-wording somebody. S-A-ing somebody. You understand what I'm saying? What's in this stuff? But it's the spiritual too. There's something wrong. A lot of people try to leave reality. They try to not face their problems. It's a way to escape. So not only are you addicted to it, you're addicted to opening up demonic portals, and you're addicted to running from your problems. You can't, wherever problems you're facing, whatever trauma a person's facing, they can't face it on their own. And nobody can really face it on their own. That's why they need God and Christ and the Holy Spirit, and they need to change their life around by the will of God. But it's hard. Them drugs, you know, your body is absolutely drawn to it. You need it. You can't function without it. Withdrawals. I hope who's ever on drugs, y'all please get some help, because this man got beaten to death all over some Redbox movies, and the damn Redbox doesn't even exist anymore. Redbox doesn't even exist anymore. Bankrupt over some movies and some video games. But see, that was his fault. How did you get? So in other words, they're looking like he's stealing. I mean, you're just going to the Redbox, stealing movies. So this is some crackhead. So now I'm thinking, with his drug addiction, he was taking the movies and selling them. They said he had he owed Redbox $7,100. And I don't know if he was selling the movies. I don't know if he was he had a burner. He was duplicating the games. I believe he was duplicating them. He was trying, he had some type of scam going on, to where he was making some money to go get them drugs. Think about that. The extent in which a person would go to, the lengths a person would go to just to get some drugs. Stealing Redbox movies. Stealing these Redbox movies and games, and trying to make a profit for some drugs. Come on, man. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of movies. The wardens, as of now, let me see. The warden of Alabama Correctional Facilities, let's see. And he looked like a creep. He just looked evil. Let me see. So Bibb Correctional Facility, Christopher Gordy, Correctional Warden 3, he black, and John Hutton, Correctional Warden 1. So there's black wardens. So you know what's crazy? Everybody talk about, oh, these prisons are ran by white folks, and white folks locking a nigga ass up. It's white folks doing all this crazy stuff to a nigga. Nah, it's niggas doing this to niggas. It's niggas doing this to niggas. It's two black men, Warden 3 and Warden 1. Let me see what that means. Y'all mind if I do a little research? Do y'all mind if I do a research to see? Let's see what the Warden 3. I don't know what a Warden 3 is. It's not much. Let me see. Oh, he's an assistant. Oh, so I had it right. So the Warden 3 is an assistant to Warden 1. So it's two black men who's running the prison. They're evil. Evil doesn't have a color. Evil does not have a color. And think about the aunt. She lost her, that must have been her sister or brother. Because this is her nephew. This is her nephew. And you got to think about it like, damn, not only did she lose her nephew, she lost her brother or sister too. I don't know how they're related. It didn't say, but they're related. So the aunt either lost her brother or sister. Now you lost your nephew, and you lost your nephew in the most horrific way. His head was kicked in. Head was kicked in. Beaten all over. There's some such evil people in this world. They only want to do evil. Broken homes, prisons, it's all a big system. It's all a big game. It's all to make people's lives live in hell. One mistake, you in the belly of the beast, fighting for your butt. Dudes trying to rape. And here's the thing, it's not even the raping part is the worst. It's not even the worst of it. That's horrific. Diseases. You don't know where that man been. You gotta see youngsters or hear youngsters get their manhood taken. 1 minute they come in, they know the youngster, he's scared. He's scared. He ain't gonna fight for himself. He ain't gonna get angry. And for whatever reason, he's just scared to fight. He's scared of danger. He chose not to do anything about it, and they take advantage of him. Think about that. These dudes are in there taking other men's souls and manhood. Because once a man's manhood gone, he's soulless. He's just lost. He go in there as a young man. He's scared. They take advantage of him. Now they slapping him around, passing him around. Everybody trying to get a turn, putting diseases in him, having him act like a girl. They say it was so bad in some instances. Think about this. You go in there, not only are you oppressed by the prison, you oppressed by a man that took advantage of you. And they said some dudes are so scared, wants to become a girl in there, that the man that turned them out, they tell them, hey, they oppressing them too. So in other words, the young man that got turned out, he can't even leave the cell. There's some instances out here, out there in them YouTube streets, he get beat up by his boyfriend if he chooses to leave the cell without his boyfriend's permission. He can't eat without his boyfriend. Think about a lifestyle like that. Think about that type of lifestyle where another inmate is telling you what to do on top of the prison administration telling you what to do. I'm gonna have to kill somebody up in there. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to, because the way I'm wired, hey, it is what it is. If we have to go to war, we have to go to war. It just is what it is. I can't tolerate. I don't know. Now there's instances where there's, if you get overpowered, even if you get overpowered, you still gotta get that get back. You still gotta get your revenge. You still gotta poke them, do something. I know seeing her nephew, she said his face was literally kicked in, disfigured. There's a lot of people don't believe. A lot of people don't want to believe this is a hell on earth. So that's why you just gotta be grateful. I believe in being grateful for all the little things, freedom, things that we take for granted. Freedom. I know the food sucks, but I'm sipping my little 7-Up right now. Hey, I'm grateful for my little 7-Up. I had the opportunity to talk to y'all out there and shine some light on, the things that's going on in the world, and we can open up our mind and spirit to God and just be grateful for the little that we have, grateful for the life that we have, and grateful because there's somebody dying and hoping that to take your spot because they are in a messed up state. Geographically wise, they're probably in prison, they're probably in the hospital, banged up, Physically, they probably want your position. Mentally, spiritually, emotionally. If you got your stuff together, I mean, you really dedicate your life to God. You dedicate your life to excellence. You dedicate your life to greatness. You move different, and you see what man could be. God really opened up your eyes to see how beautiful human beings can be. You just got to be grateful that that the world that we live in ain't how it's supposed to be. This is a fake world that we live in. It's a fake and evil world, because the real world, all human beings are supposed to walk in their godliness, supposed to walk in their holiness, supposed to walk in their divinity that shines on others to help other people out. In today's world, it's every man for himself. We know that's not how the world's supposed to operate. We know that there's a human connection between everybody, but the world is just so cruel. People just have so many agendas and motives. You just got to say hi, bye, and go about your way. It's a dog eat dog world for the most part, because some people, they just evil, man. A lot of these people, they just evil. So it's great to separate. That's why I said we obviously rare, because we understood the great separation. I believe in separate myself from the world. I believe, but you have to. This is in the Bible. You have to separate yourself from certain groups. You got to separate yourself from certain places. And you got to separate yourself internally. You got to separate yourself from your emotions. The emotions that get the best of you. You got to separate yourself from certain thoughts that try to control. You got to separate from them thoughts that may not be your thoughts, may not be from God, may be from another entity. These thoughts may be coming from an entity that's bringing negativity, that's bringing sorrow. These thoughts are bringing depression. These thoughts are bringing hopelessness. These thoughts are bringing unaccountability. Always blaming somebody else. These thoughts, man, it's the world, and it's the system, it's this, it's that, it's this, it's that. These thoughts may bring frustration, and all of these things stir up your emotions. And then your emotions will stir up action, stir up the physical. And now your spirit's broken because your mind thinks a certain way. And then now you're moving a certain way. All aspects of human beings, they all work together. You can't have one without the other. All have to be aligned. All of them have to be aligned. So you can't have a good spirit, but you have negative thoughts. That's what I'm saying. You can't have a good spirit, like you love God, you gave your life to Christ, and we're eating different. We're doing our best to eat right. We're exercising. We're giving our best, because everything that we do is to show appreciation to God. It's to magnify God's glory. So that's your spirit, but you always depressed. Something going on. You still got work to do. You think negative thoughts. You always have negative emotions. You don't want to work out. You don't want to put the right things in your body. So they all have to align. Your spiritual, your mental, your emotional, and your physical all have to align. And that's when your blessings really start coming in. And it's hard to get all of your aspects together. Some days you feel like your spirit's up, because your soul belongs to God. But it's just like, man, I'm just in a rut, So just because you give your life to God doesn't mean every day is going to be peaches and cream. Every day just ain't going to be peaches and cream, but we just got to fight through. Evil is not a color. There are white folks that are doing the most, acting a damn fool. There are black folks that are acting a damn fool. There are Mexican, Latinos acting a fool, Puerto Ricans. There are Muslims that's acting a fool. There are Jewish folk that's acting a fool. Everybody has contributed to the devastation and frustration and the destruction of man. Every ethnic group, both genders, there's only two genders, male and female, have done wicked things, y'all. Wicked things. The wardens are black. You would think, we have a black warden, especially in the South, things can change a little bit. We got some black wardens. Maybe these niggas can get things together and we can, change things around. It's not about changing things around. It's about doing evil. It's about doing evil. You got some evil people. You got a facility where dudes have to get naked and another man have to look at your ass and your crack. My thing is, why don't they just get x-rays, metal detectors? How about that? Everybody just walk through. You try to smuggle something in your ass, you try to smuggle something in your stomach, you're going to get a butt whooping. That's cool. In today's technology, why don't y'all have, like what they have at the TSA, those x-rays at the TSA, full body x-ray, just come on through. You ain't got to strip, you ain't got to do nothing, just come on through. You got a knife, it's going to go off. You got anything sharp in your, like I say, dudes are hiding stuff in they butt. I don't think nobody's hiding no knife in their butt. They cool with one of them officers. Them officers are allowing them to put hits on folks. Officers want to be gangsters. Gangsters want to be, everybody want to be gangsters. Everybody want to do evil stuff. Until it's time for them to do some damn time. Them same wardens, if they ever did some actual time, oh Lord, they be the first one crying to their mama. They be the first one crying to their mama. So it's a wicked game. Please get off those drugs. If y'all on them drugs, y'all listening to this message, please get off them drugs. And not just people that's on drugs, everybody. Get your life together. Get yourself together. Give your soul, your mind, your spirit, your heart. Give it back to God and give your best. Joshua Hammer, beaten to death in an Alabama correctional facility, and nobody knows what happened. Details are still hidden. Nobody knows how exactly it's going to happen, but the prosecutor is doing her best to investigate, and I pray for her that she don't get her head bust, because they got some evil people. They probably put a hit out on her too. We don't know if it was a hit. We don't know if it was some inmate, because the thing is, how did the inmates get to him? It was over a $50 debt, looks like. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of unanswered questions, but we're going to see if anything else unravels with this story. I'll keep an eye out on it to see if anybody gets prosecuted. Do I think anybody going to get prosecuted? The way Alabama is jumping off right now, I'm not sure, because Joshua Hammer is one of many who have died in the Alabama correctional facilities. Bibb is one of the facilities. They have others where people are just off the chain, getting slaughtered up in there, and is not making front page news because they don't care about the evil that's going on in America. They only care about globalist agendas in America. Americans just on your own. It's a clear message that we're going to have to just figure this out. Figure it out. But y'all flood my comments. I appreciate y'all. Those of you that have been rocking with me since day one, y'all know I appreciate y'all. Those of you who just found the channel, I appreciate y'all too. Spread the word. Share the videos. Put God first. Don't be afraid to separate yourself. Work hard, give your best, stay disciplined, stay consistent, handle your business, and this is how we will continue to stay rare, because it's obvious that we wear 250 capital G. I'm gone.